Hello, Agape and friends. It's Tuesday of Holy Week, and we've got quite a bit of content here in the scriptures about what happened on Tuesday of Holy Week, and that makes a lot of sense. On Sunday, we looked at it was Palm Sunday. We looked at Jesus' triumphal entry. And then yesterday, we saw that Jesus went to the temple and turned the tables of the money changers. It makes sense that Jesus will have created quite a bit of buzz by that point. And so by Tuesday, when he returns to the temple, there's going to be a whole lot of people with questions, wanting to know who this Jesus is, what he's about. This is especially true because in Jerusalem during this time, there were several different groups of Jews who had different worldviews, different assumptions of what God's kingdom is like exactly, when it will come, how it will come. And so each of these groups of Jews want to kind of know, is this Jesus on our team or not? Who is he really? So we see, for example, in Matthew 22, we see two groups come together to try to ask Jesus a question about paying taxes to Caesar. One of the groups, the Pharisees, were very anti-Rome and were very strict in their observance to Torah. The other group were the Herodians, who were kind of fine with Rome. And so each one of them were looking for a specific answer. But Jesus blew them away by his answer. He made it clear, I'm not really on either of your teams here. He also has some interaction with the Sadducees, another group who didn't believe in the resurrection. And they ask him a question about that, and his answer blows them away. Jesus won't fit into any of their boxes. It reminds me of John 18, where Jesus says that his kingdom is not of this world. It's a kingdom that testifies to truth. And so it makes sense. Jesus is just responding in ways that just blow these people away. I can just picture Jerusalem being full of chatter and speculation and opinions and wondering, what is this guy all about? As if it wasn't enough of a whirlwind day, as Jesus and his disciples are leaving the temple area, he looks to the temple and he prophesies, "Truly I tell you, not one stone will be left here on another that will not be thrown down." That's a pretty bold statement. So the disciples ask, "Tell us, when will these things happen? And what is the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" So then Jesus goes on into what we know as Matthew 24, which can be, honestly, a little confusing. There's lots of different interpretations in trying to understand what was fulfilled then, what is yet to be fulfilled. Again, it kind of follows in this theme of kind of this whirlwind, this confusion, this maybe uncertainty, a little bit of speculation. But here's what I love. Here's what I want us to focus in on. After Jesus tells his disciples that no one knows the day or the hour of his return, he tells a quick parable, starting in verse 45, Matthew 24, verse 45. He says, "Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master has put in charge of his household, to give them food at the proper time? Blessed is that servant whom the master finds doing his job when he comes. Truly I tell you, he will put him in charge of all of his possessions." Again, it was a whirlwind day for the disciples. They saw so many interactions of Jesus with all these people. He just gives them this intense teaching about the end of the age. And yet what he encourages them at this moment is that they have work to do. That their focus, even in the midst of all of this, should be the kingdom work that he has shown them to do. To be people of the kingdom who are transformed by the teachings of the Sermon on the Mount. To be people who eventually will be filled with the Holy Spirit and showing the world what a life led by the Spirit looks like. A life of love and joy and peace and so on. A life of grace and truth. I think it's not an accident that Jesus reminded them of this after such a whirlwind day. A day full of opinions and speculation and confusion. He simply wanted to tell them, I want you guys, in the midst of all of this, to focus on the work that I have given you. I believe that's a really, really important message for us today, too. Because in our world today, of course, there are opinions, there's speculation, there's a whole lot of armchair quarterbacking of what's right and wrong or what we should and shouldn't do. And I think the best thing that we can do as the people of God is to remember the kingdom work that God has called us to do. To be a people who, with everything inside of us, want to love God and love others. To be tangible expressions of God's love in real ways, with our interactions with others, the way we talk to others. That's the kingdom work that God has called us to. Again, in a time like this, we could fall into the trap of thinking that what's most important right now is arguments over the internet or making our opinion known to everyone. But I think what's most important for us to focus on is Christ, his kingdom, and the kingdom work that he calls us to. So let's be people who do that, who look for tangible ways to show the love of God. I love you guys. Have a great day.